Hey there, and welcome. Do you ever find yourself kind of second guessing your English? Worried that some of those small mistakes might be holding you back? Well, today we're going to fix that. We are going to tackle some of the most common errors out there with really simple solutions that are going to make a huge difference in your confidence. Okay, let's just jump right in with a classic. How many times have you heard, or maybe even said, I am agree? I bet it sounds familiar, and you know what? It's incredibly common. Seriously, it's one of those little trip-ups that's just so easy to make when you're learning. And here's the good news. That's just one of 20 simple fixes we're going to cover. The whole goal here is to give you clear, immediate solutions you can start using literally today to feel way more confident when you speak. So let's get into the right mindset for this, okay? This is not about being perfect. Not at all. It's all about making progress. So come on, let's start learning and speak better English together. All right, first up, we're diving into our first category, tricky verb forms. A ton of the most common mistakes people make just come down to these little verb errors. And the cool thing is, once you see the pattern, they're actually way easier to fix than you might think. So let's look at this first example. We hear this one a lot. He didn't told me. The mistake here is using the past tense told right after didn't. And here's the rule. It's a golden rule, really. After didn't, you always use the base form of the verb. So it just becomes, he didn't tell me. And what's so great about this rule is that it's not just for that one sentence. It fixes a whole category of mistakes. For example, she didn't went there? Nope, that's also incorrect. You follow the exact same rule and it becomes she didn't go there. See how that works? One simple pattern, multiple fixes. Okay, now let's circle back to that very first one we mentioned, I am agree. So why is this wrong? Well, the word agree is already a verb. It's an action, so it doesn't need another verb like am hanging out in front of it. You just say, I agree. Simple as that. Here's another really specific one that trips a lot of people up. I am looking forward to see you. Now, it sounds logical, right? But this particular phrase has its own special little rule. The verb that comes after looking forward to has to have an ing ending. So the correct way to say it is, I am looking forward to seeing you. Now that we've got some verbs down, let's move on to another tricky area, prepositions. These are those tiny little words like in, at, on, and to that can make a surprisingly big difference in how natural your English sounds. First up, she is married with a doctor. In English, this is what we call a fixed phrase. You are always married to someone. So the simple correction here is she is married to a doctor. Just try to memorize that pair, married to. And hey, here are a few more quick fixes that follow that exact same idea. We don't say in home, we say at home. You're not good in English, you're good at English. And you're not angry on me, you're angry with me. These are just those little set phrases you gotta remember. Oh, this is another really common mix-up. When you use the verb prefer to compare two things, the correct preposition is not than, it's to. So instead of saying I prefer tea than coffee, you should say I prefer tea to coffee. And finally for this section, let's talk about a word that often gets an unnecessary preposition, discuss. People often say discuss about the problem. But here's the thing, the verb discuss already means to talk about. So that extra about is redundant. You just don't need it. You can simply say he discussed the problem. Next up, let's tackle confusing comparisons. Getting these right is a huge part of expressing yourself clearly, and it's going to make your descriptions sound so much more powerful and accurate. Okay, let's tackle a big one. I play football good. This feels like it should be right, but it's actually incorrect, and here's why. Good is an adjective, which means it describes a thing, a noun. But in this sentence, we need to describe an action, the verb play. And for that, we need an adverb, which is well. So the correct sentence is, I play football well. Now this right here, this is the key to unlocking so many other sentences. Just remember this simple difference. Adjectives describe things or nouns like a good game. Adverbs describe actions or verbs like he plays well. Honestly, this one little rule is a total game changer. So here is a crucial point. You should never double up on comparisons. English uses either the word more or an "er" ending, but never both at the same time. So phrases like more taller or more cleverer, nope, those are incorrect. It's just taller or cleverer. And since better is already the comparative form of good, more better is definitely out. All right, for our final section, let's look at some common word mix-ups. Choosing the exact right word can make your English sound so much clearer. You'd be surprised what a difference one little choice can make. Here's a nice, easy one to fix. I know that in some languages, you might specify the gender of your cousin, but in English, the word cousin is completely gender neutral. So you don't need to add sister or brother. You just say, she is my cousin or he is my cousin. Oh, this slide illustrates a very common point of confusion brilliantly, the ed versus ing endings. Just think of it this way. The ed ending describes your internal feeling. I am interested. The ing ending describes the external thing that causes that feeling. The music is interesting. This one is all about logic. When someone asks a question like, he is tired, isn't he? What they're really looking for is confirmation. They're saying, I think he's tired. Do you agree? So if you agree with them, your answer has to be positive too. The correct response is, yes, he is. Responding, yes, he isn't, is just contradictory. It doesn't make sense. So let's do a super quick recap of the main patterns we saw. Remember to always use the base form of the verb after didn't. Never, ever double up on your comparisons by using more with an ER adjective, and pay attention to those fixed preposition phrases like at home and good at. Mastering these patterns is going to fix so many more mistakes than just the ones we looked at today. Wow, okay, we've covered a lot of ground pretty quickly. But, progress is made one small step at a time. So my final question to you is this. Which one of these rules are you going to start using today to speak with just a little more confidence?